Hello! So the much anticipated release of the Star Wars movies on Blu-ray is upon us. I wandered over to Amazon.ca to see if they could guarantee delivery on the day that it was released. And when I went there, I noticed that there were already several reviews for the box set, even though it hadn't even been released yet. I also noticed that the majority of the reviews only had 1 star. So I decided to read some of these negative reviews, and they almost all talked about the same thing. Fans are once again upset that George Lucas has made minor changes to the movie, or what could be considered major changes, depending on how high you rank on the nerd meter. Now, the biggest offender is the scene where Han is sitting across from Greedo the bounty hunter. Now in the scene, Greedo is pointing his blaster, which is a laser gun for all you non-nerds, directly at Han. Han discreetly pulls his blaster out underneath the table and fires off a shot, killing the bounty hunter. Now it was a scene that really summed up Han Solo as a character. Lucas decided to change the scene so that Greedo fired first, missed, and then Han fired second. Now I have to admit, I don't understand the change at all. The first thing that bothers me is it takes away from Han Solo's character. It was done at a perfect spot in the movie. It sort of introduced him as a character and you got an idea of what he was like. The second point I want to make about it is, I'm surprised that Greedo had any success at all as a bounty hunter. If you can't hit somebody who's sitting 3 feet in front of you with a blaster, you suck. It's also interesting to me that Greedo went for a headshot when you could see that he was clearly aiming at the chest. It would have been a much better target for him. None of it makes sense to me in terms of continuity. Then again, we're talking about a guy who thought Jar Jar Binks was a good idea for a character. Still, Lucas did it and I say, so what? Am I happy about it? Not really. Did I devote more than 3 seconds thought to it? No. Now I understand that people care. I just don't understand why they care so damn much. Do you really have some sort of strong emotional connection with the original movies that you simply can't watch them with any kind of minor changes done to them? Does it take you back to a time in your life when you were a nerd with a Commodore 64, no girlfriend, and all your friends talked about was Dungeons and Dragons? And before you start sending me hate mail, I was one of those guys. I think it's akin to when my parents get pissed off when a classic 50s song gets remade by a modern artist. I think they feel like it's urinating on a classic. Now this version of Star Wars has the best picture and audio quality of any version ever released, and I personally am not going to miss out on that just because Lucas decided to make a couple tweaks to the movies. I'll watch the Greedo scene, I'll yell Han shot first at the TV, and then I'll move on with my life. In the end, I know Han shot first, you know Han shot first, Chewie knows Han shot first, and if Greedo was still alive, he could testify that Han shot first. Police in Little Rock, Arkansas are looking for a man with a foot fetish. This man's actions have crossed the line from foot fetish to assault. So the suspect has a toe-sucking addiction and has been responsible for 2 toe-sucking incidents in recent weeks. Now the first victim was a woman who was just sitting at the front of her apartment. The man approached her and told her that he liked her feet. He then removed a shoe and started sucking on her toes. He then asked the woman to kiss her. Now to be honest, I don't blame him. If a woman who is a complete stranger lets you take off her shoe and then suck on her toes, why not ask for more? The fact that he was able to get this woman's toes in his mouth is astonishing to me. For me, when a complete stranger reaches out and grabs my foot, that is my cue to start delivering repeated front kicks to the face, neck, and genitals. If he was able to get as far as sucking on her toes, she couldn't have put up much resistance. In another incident, the toe sucker approached a woman in a mall and told her that her toes were long and succulent, and that he wanted to suck them. Succulent? Really? Now in this particular incident, he didn't actually get the woman's toes in his mouth. I think this guy missed his calling. He probably should have been a podiatrist. That way he could look at and touch feet all day long. Now he would probably have to keep the toe sucking to a minimum, unless he could convince his clients that it was a technique that he learned while he was backpacking through Peru. Today's question of the day is, are the changes to the new Blu-ray Star Wars movie so unforgivable that you would contemplate not buying them? Now if you said yes, please explain why. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to fave and comment, and if you have a question, leave it below in the comment section. Oh yeah, and if you think my opinion about Star Wars is tempered because I'm not a real fan, think again. So I wandered over to Amazon, and when I went there, I noticed that there were already silver. And when I went there, the first thing that when he could have clearly hit a, when he